What if it all depended on me to change the world, to change the world? What if my only responsibility was to change the world, change the world? Let me be the one to start a revolution. Yeah, I'm thinking if this idea spreading thing doesn't work out for me, I still have a chance for a career in song. Do you guys agree with that? Yeah, I do. Thank you. But I did not, no, don't you dare clap. I did not sing those words from one of my favorite songs, The Power of One by Israel Houghton. I didn't do that to show off my singing chops, even though they're awesome. I actually did it on purpose because of the potency in those words. Did you hear that? What if it all depended on me, you, to change the world, change the world? What if our only responsibility was to change the world, change the world? Well, I'm happy to be the one to tell you that it is on each of us to change the world. We all have a role in changing the world. I discovered mine 5 years ago, this coming summer, when I found myself personally and professionally depleted. And by depleted, I mean flat on my back, unable to breathe, completely worn out, nowhere to hide from the pain and complexity that is a marriage on the brink of extinction. And I emphasize and, not or, and a career move gone bad to an industry gone worse. It was dark. It was ugly. It was a pit. But I love that pit. Because it was in that pit that I got complete clarity on what was important to me. And that was my relationships. I mean, you heard him describe me. That's my own introduction for myself. Wife, mom, marketer, and recently re-elected public servant, in that order, on purpose. But one relationship that's not mentioned in my little description is my relationship with myself. And it's that relationship, along with countless others in my life, are what pulled me out of that pit and set me on a path to doing my life's work every day, revolutionizing relationships on planet Earth. I'm going to say it again because I don't know if you heard me. Revolutionizing relationships on planet Earth. I'm crazy, right? I mean, are you kidding? That's huge. Who says they're going to revolutionize relationships? I did, okay? And here's the thing, it is huge. Look at the current state of relationships. Look no further than the World Health Organization, which recently released a study showing that suicide occurrences globally have risen steadily over the last 45 years to over 60%. Look at politics. I'm in politics. Look at our political climate, destroying countries, communities, and families in ways more destructive than any other time in history. Guys, I could cherry pick stats all day to show you the current trajectory of human relationships, and it's down and to the left. But as I pick apart my own revolution, I'm hopeful because I'm driven by my core belief and cornerstone of my young business that no good is ever accomplished without great relations between humans. It's true. Look at any challenge, conflict, be it social, political, personal. 99.9% of the time, the solution lies in getting humans to relate better to one another. So how do we do it? How do we do that? Yeah, I don't have an answer for you. It's not a silver bullet, right? It's a very complex thing, but I do have a technique that I've been utilizing in my journey, and it's rather simple, and I'm inviting you today to join me. Care more, fear less. Care more, fear less. You see, the more we care for ourselves, the less we fear what others may think about us or could say or do to us. The more we care for ourselves, opening our capacity to care for others, the less we fear what helping those others might cost us. Feeling an interest or a concern for something and applying importance to it simultaneously wipes out any feelings of threat or danger about that same something. You can't care about something and fear it at the same time. When I care more, I fear less. Now, humans are motivated by love and by fear. And I'm not going to ask you to love today because you know what? First of all, everybody does that. Everybody, you know how many times peace and love, you see that all the time. I'm not going to ask you to love because I think that's complex and it's a little messy. But I am going to ask you to care. It's simple. Now I'm going to tell you a couple of stories that have inspired me in my journey to care more and fear less, and I'm hoping in a few minutes from now that they will launch you on yours. My first story is from 2010. I had the pleasure and the privilege to meet and interact with a young CEO by the name of Blake Mycoskie. Blake is the CEO of Tom's Shoes. Have any of you heard of Tom's Shoes? I'm actually wearing my Tom wedges right now. This is my second pair. If you don't know the story, I'll tell you. Blake and his sister Paige were on The Amazing Race, but they didn't win. They came in second. And throughout his travels, one time when he was in Argentina, he ran into some kids a couple days in a row, and he saw them going to school, and he was like, gosh, those kids, something's weird about them. So in his broken Spanish, he asked, hey, what's the deal with your shoes? And the little boy said, oh, yeah, that wasn't me you saw yesterday. Because you have to have shoes to go to school. And there's only one pair that me and my 3 brothers share. Well, that wrecked Blake when he heard it. It wrecked me the first time I heard it. But that was my first glimpse of care more, fear less in real life. Because this guy came back, and he was a serial entrepreneur. He came back to his boathouse in Santa Monica, and he started Tom's Shoes. He cared more about getting shoes on the feet of children throughout the world who needed them, and he feared less what it would take to get that done. Now, it's interesting because he had some seed money that he could have just bought shoes. I mean, think about it. You just buy shoes for a kid. I mean, what's the big deal? But he said he would be haunted for the rest of his life on how to keep raising money to buy shoes. So he did a business model that's never been seen before, and it's very much copied now. It's 1 for 1. For every pair of Tom's shoes that you or I buy, he gives a pair away to a child somewhere in the world in need. Make no mistake, he's in the shoe business. But he's also selling an ideal, and he's letting you and I be a part of it. Blake cares more, and he fears less. Another thing I'm going to tell you is look at kids, right? When you get to be about 6th grade and above, you lose the natural ability to care more and fear less. It's interesting. Kids, young kids, they do. You need to observe them next time you get a chance, even those annoying kids on your block, those ones that get on your nerves. Make sure you take a moment to look at how they look at the world, because kids get care more, fear less in ways that we don't. And my favorite example recently is a friend of mine. She is on a school board in an urban school district. Now, I say urban because I'm not going to pull any punches. Urban has become synonymous with bad because there's usually a lot of brown and black people in those school districts. There's often economic disparity in those school districts. And the things that they face in those school districts are sometimes very, very different than what their peers face. Now, my friend, by the way, she cares more and fears less just by getting on the school board, because that's not a bowl of cherries. People don't get on the school board for fun, right? Her kids are already out of school. No agenda. She just joined the school board to give back to the community, to lend her talents. So after she was on the board for a couple of years, she's watching them talk about their long-term strategic plan. And it was starting to bug her. And she had to figure out a way to put it in an analogy that they could understand so she could ask a question that had been burning inside her. And so she said, when I hear you guys talk about the long-term strategic plan, it sounds fantastic. Because it's like, think about an analogy of fire, right? The strategic plan paints a vision for how they're going to prevent fires in the future, right? Talks about all the great technology that they're going to do to stop fires from happening. They're going to get the best training for their firefighters. I mean, this strategic plan has thought of everything. But her one question was, what do we do for the third grader who's sitting in a classroom today on fire? Well, you would have thought she insulted somebody's mother, because the way that they attacked her in the press, the parents, the superintendent, and all the staff, they were all defensive. I got it. When she told me that story, I got it. And further, I wanted to test my theory that kids get it too. So I told that story to a 7-year-old boy who's in 2nd grade. Same story. I said, hey, we got this plan to prevent fires, and we're laying it out, and we're showing you all the technologies and all the training for the firefighters. You know, that's what we're going to do in the future. And I asked him the question. I said, what are we going to do for the 3rd grader who's sitting in the classroom today on fire? What do you think the 2nd grader said, guys? Anybody? Bueller. I know you guys are too young for that, but anyway. She said, pour water on him, which is the equivalent to put the fire out. Woo, that's brilliant. A 7-year-old, put the fire out, and just like you said, young lady, put water on him. Yeah. I mean, it's simple, and you know what? It doesn't have to be complex, and that's what I love about kids. When you tell them something, they get right at the heart of the matter. My third and final example is one of my favorite businesses. How many of you have heard of Kind bars? Kind granola? Yes, I see a couple hands. So the thing about Kind bars that I love, so if any of you have any of those annoying friends who read the labels of everything they eat to make sure that they don't put certain, yeah, somebody's nodding their head. That was me last night, you know, because they made me drink aspartame and I was like losing it. But literally, I'm that person. So anything I consume, I'm always reading and I'm looking, what am I consuming? Well, Kind makes it so easy because their brand motto is very simple. Be kind to your body, be kind to your taste buds, and be kind to the world. I mean, it's simple. It's transparent. That they care more about what their brand promises, and they fear less what it will take to execute that. I just read a story last week in Bloomberg Week about how early in that company's history, they were faced with possibly adding a sugar alcohol to their mix. Now, along with their brand promise of be kind, they also have a promise that there will never be anything in the bars or granola that you or I cannot recognize and pronounce. So even though this sugar alcohol could have worked, their CEO was like, you know what? Can't do it because it's cutting corners. And guess what that means? He cared more about what his brand promise was to make sure that you and I could pronounce what he puts in his stuff. And he feared less what the stakeholders wanted or what the profitability number was going to look like. And you want to know how care more, fear less is working out for them? In 2004, when that company was founded, there were 5 employees and $1 million in granola sales. Fast forward to the year that just ended, 2012, over 100 employees and over $120 million in snack sales available in 60,000 locations worldwide. Care More, Fear Less is also profitable, guys. I care more and fear less in my marriage, in my business, in my relationships. And so I'm asking you, where will you care more and fear less? Will it be on the basketball court, in the football field, in the soccer field? Will you care more, fear less at the movie theater with your group of friends when somebody you don't like walks by? Will you care more or fear less with your parents, with your siblings? Or will you start in your mirror? You can change the world. Thank you.